everybody, my name is Lisa. Thank you for joining me today. I am the maker behind Sweet Paper Studios and I'm so glad you're here. Today's video tutorial we're going to make a shadow box card, which has really become a favorite of mine. But before we get started, I did want to say that you may have mentioned some changes around here. I used to be the Stampin' Girl at thestampinggirl.com, but I have recently amalgamated that business in with my other business, which is Sweet Paper Studios. So you will notice a refresh, new branding, and of course I have a new website and blog which you can check out at sweetpaperstudios.com. You'll still get videos, content. I have an online shop for my handmade cards, and still the same everything, just under a new name, and that's Sweet Paper Studios. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada. I offer local classes if you're close to me in Hamilton, Ontario. All my classes are posted online, so please come out if you can join me. And if you don't already have a demonstrator, I would love to fill that role for you. So you could check out my website and for all the information there. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest as Sweet Paper Studios as well. And click that subscribe button below so you don't miss any future videos. For all products we're using in today's tutorial, I will post a link in the YouTube video subscription so you can have everything that you need. And again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And now let's get started. Okay, so as I said, today we're going to make a shadow box card. These have become a favorite of mine. I think they're perfect for any occasion, and you can really do anything with them. So I'm super excited to show you today. This is the card that we will be making today. Super bright, fun, and as you can see, it's also got a little bit of shimmer and bling on there as well. So I have done a very detailed front of the card, but when you open it up, you get this nice pop of the Make-A-Wish. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's really just a box and a card, just like that. It is super easy to do, and I'll show you just that. So this is a super fun one, and as I said, you could do anything with these. So I'll show you another example where I went really simple on this top, on the card front. As you can see, there's just a beautiful sentiment, something for a sympathy card, or just like a thinking of you if someone's going through a rough time. And on the inside, you still get that beautiful simplicity that's there with this beach scene. This set in particular, this card, is made with the High Tide stamp set from Stampin' Up! Just a beautiful, beautiful set. But as you can see, you can really do anything. You could do something super simple or something really bright and fun. So I'll just put that aside and show you how to make this beautiful card. So this card actually is made with elements from the June Paper Pumpkin Kit from Stampin' Up! That is this kit right here. As you can see, it's a card kit that includes all of your items and supplies needed for this month's project. And if you're not really familiar with Paper Pumpkin, it is a monthly subscription box, so it's a nice surprise every month. I am a current subscriber and I love it because it's not always handmade cards. You also get home decor projects or you know, favors or anything like that, and it's always holiday oriented too. So when Christmas comes up in like 6 months, in November we'll probably get a Christmas themed box. So it's really just a nice kit to get each month. If you would like to know more and sign up or check it out, I will post a link in the bottom of this video so you can get more details on that. But I did take elements from this kit and use them to create the shadow box. And the kit, as I said, comes with everything that you need, so I'll show you those things as well. Okay, now just to make the card base, all you need is 2 pieces of paper, so I'll just put that off to the side. And the first one that you'll need is this nice, bright, detailed card base. It's white on one side, and then you got the patterned paper on the front. This color is Lemon Lime Twist from Stampin' Up! And because it was part of the kit, it already has a score line right in the middle there, so you can go ahead and fold that in half. And you can use your bone folder to just give it a nice crisp fold. And with this shadow box card, you're going to want to cut a 1/2 inch on one side of the card. So I'm going to do that off screen just because my paper cutter is a little bit bigger, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So I'll just take this over here and cut a 1/2 inch off, and then you'll end up with a card base that is 1/2 inch smaller on one side, as you see here. You'll see that right there. Okay, then you're going to need your second piece of cardstock. And I should point out that both of these pieces are 8.5 inch by 5.5. So standard A4 size A2 size, when you cut it, when you fold it in half, it will be a 5.5 by 4.25 card. But for this card, you're actually going to need to score it in 3 different spots. So I'll move that card base over there, and I will bring in my scoreboard, this guy right here, and you're going to need to score it in 3 spots. Oh. So I'll line that up, and the first spot is 1/2 inch, which is this spot right here. So you can go ahead and put your score line in there. The second one will be 4.25, which is right here. So you can go ahead and add your score line there as well. And the last one will be 4.75 inch. That's right here. So just to recap, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, 4.25 inch, and 4.75 inch. And then that's all the scoring that you need to do for this card. Move that out of the way. And you'll see hopefully you can see those score lines right there, and you can go ahead and fold those over. And take your bone folder so you can get some nice crisp fold. So we'll fold the second one. And then you're going to fold the last one over. And you'll see that once you fold it together, that actually creates your box for your shadow box card. Just like that. One thing I should point out is that you can go ahead and on the inch fold right here, this little flap right here, you can cut a sliver off there. And I'll do that again off screen so you can see that. As I said, it's just really a little sliver of cardstock, and that's just going to make the box fit really nicely within the card base. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that, and I'll just show you. This is your card base, so the flap with the 1/2 inch that's cut will be the back of your card, and then it goes in like this. And that folds around, and that is your shadow box card. But we have to go ahead and add our window and do some decorating first, but that's essentially how it goes together. So I'll put that offside, and we definitely want to decorate the inside first before putting the card together. So you can go ahead and create a window sheet, and I am using my Stitch Shapes framelits from Stampin' Up. I have these on a picture frame actually with a piece of a magnetic sheet in there, because these are my most used dies, so I like to have them really handy when I'm working. So I'm going to take the largest square of the Stitch Shape framelit, and we're going to cut that out on this piece, this side right here. So the biggest side closest to the 1/2 inch fold. So I will bring my Big Shot over. And because I need to turn it on its side because it won't fit the other way. And you just want to line that up as center as possible. So that looks good. If you don't already, I highly recommend getting the magnetic platform for a Big Shot. It just helps your die stay in place nicely. So make sure that's lined up, and then I carefully put this on over top and press down, and I like to push it in a little bit before I crank it because that just makes make sure that the dies stay in place a little bit more nicely. Okay, move that out of the way. We will need the Big Shot again, so make sure that stays nice and close. But as you can see, we got this nice frame in there. And we won't be using this piece, but you can go ahead, put that aside and keep it because you can use that for another card. I don't like to waste any cardstock or pieces if I know I can make it, use it again to make another card. So I'll go ahead and put that over there. So this is your frame for your shadow box card, and so we can start decorating that. So with the paper pumpkin kit, you get some embellishments, and this includes these cute little cakes here. These are not self-adhesive, so I have to add some adhesive to these, but it's very easy to do. We're just going to put them like that. So I'll just take my snail adhesive. This is my adhesive of choice. I find it works really well, and it's very forgiving. If I put adhered piece down on the paper and it's not quite right, the snail adhesive allows me to lift it up without wrecking the paper. So you just need a little bit in the corner there, just like that. And you're gonna just layer that over top in the corner, just like that. If you do have any extra adhesive that's over the side like that, you can take your adhesive eraser. This thing is great. Stampin' Up! No longer sells it, but I know that they're available at other craft stores as well. So I just use it to get rid of any extra adhesive that is left over, because I don't want it sticking anywhere else. And that will be put right there. Okay, I also need the candle next. So we did get some candle stickers as part of this kit, as well as the balloons that we'll be using for the front of the card. But I needed to do something a little bit different because these are stickers and I don't want the whole thing to be sticky, because part of, as you can see, part of the candle will be sticking up, and I don't want the back to stick to the back of the cardstock right in there. So what I've done is I cut around the line of the sticker. You can see that there. As you can see, I started cutting already, and that way I kept the backing piece of the candle as part of the cutout. So that's this here. I've gone ahead and done it already. So as you can see, the backing is still on there. It's not a sticker. Well, hopefully you can see that. So that way, all I have to do is go ahead and just add a little adhesive to the bottom and stick it on the cakes. And then it's ready to go. Then it can go over top of the window. Okay, so that's that part. The next part is a piece of lovely lipstick cardstock, and it measures 3 1/4 inch by 3/4 inches. So you just need a little piece, because that is going to become our border at the end of the box. And with that, I used the coordinating dies with this paper pumpkin kit. So that's another great thing about the paper pumpkin kit, is sometimes the kit coordinates with the stamp set in their catalog. In this case, it is the Broadway birthday stamp set and the Broadway Lights framelit dies. So we are going to use the dies with this card, and as you can see, it comes with many elements, such as a border and the wish die, which we will be using as well, and this decorative die as well. So this is just a fun element that we can add to this card. So we are going to be using this one for this paper, and we'll bring over our Big Shot again to do that. And this just adds a nice border piece for the card and adds another pop of color. So I just want to line this up nicely. right in the center. As you can see, the paper is the same size as the die, so we want to make sure that we can get that centered as well. Just like that, and I will carefully put that down and push it in before running it through. And then once we pull that out, you'll just get this nice decorative piece. That's super pretty. And I'll move my Big Shot over one more time for the time being, and we have one more use out of the Big Shot, so still keep it right by you. Okay, we could probably go ahead and start building this, but we needed to add this piece first before we put on the cakes. So what I've done is just sort of in the center, just add some adhesive, and on the ends, and you're just going to put that right below the window box. You want to line it up with the bottom of your squared window. You won't have it going over this time, just underneath. And you want to make it centered. As I said, snail adhesive is very forgiving, so you can lift it up and put it over. So enough with something just like that. And then you can go ahead and put the cakes on right over top, just like that, and then you still get that detailed on the end. So you're only going to need a little bit of adhesive at the bottom. And if you want to put just some over on the little bit on the side there, go ahead and do that. Just like that. You can push that down. And as you can see, I have a little bit of adhesive left over on the back, so I'm just going to use my adhesive eraser again to get rid of any of the excess adhesive. It's like magic. It makes it disappear. I love that thing. Okay, so now we have to go ahead and add the wish. And this is also, as I said, a die, so we'll go ahead and do that. Now, because this is going over, there's nothing underneath the wish, I've actually layered it. There's 2 layers of basic black cardstock on that. So for the first layer, we want to use a layer that is lined with the adhesive sheets. If you're new to adhesive sheets, I'll show you how to put that on a piece of cardstock, but if you're a crafter, you absolutely need this. This is a lifesaver, especially when you're working with intricate dies, such as words or florals, or dies that are just super detailed that you need to stick fully on the piece of cardstock. This turns it into a sticker essentially, so it is a fantastic craft supply for all your crafts. So be sure to check these out. But in order to add it to your cardstock, there is a peel line here, so you're just going to take that off. Now this is super sticky, so you're going to want to be careful, but usually I just put this down and then lay the cardstock right over top. So I'll put it right in the corner because I don't want to waste any, and then I will just bring it down, and just make sure it's flat right on there, and then it's attached like that. Now I will go ahead and put this back over because, as you can see, there's still some adhesive sheet left and I don't want to waste that. So I'll put this cover back on as best as possible, just like that. And it won't stick to the cardstock, but it will stick back to the adhesive sheet. And then I'll just cut off the excess, just like this. That way, even this little piece, for little tiny cutout pieces, I'll have the extra to use in future cards and projects. And then this just falls right off and you can throw this piece in the garbage. And then you have your sticker sheet here. So we'll need the Big Shot 2 more times. So the first wish cutout will be on the basic black cardstock with the adhesive sheet. Okay, and then you're going to cut out another wish, but on just basic black without the adhesive sheets. So we'll do the one with the adhesive sheet first. And I like to turn it upside down and have the flat side at the top. That way I can make sure I maximize the cardstock with the piece that is left over. Now, because this is a bit more intricate, I'll run it through and then I'll bring it back because I want to make sure I get a nice clean full cut, because the adhesive sheet does add that extra layer. And as you can see, the W is separate from the rest of the word, as you can see right there. So that will come out in a couple different pieces, as well as the top of the eye. So you can go ahead and pop those out. Unfortunately, I'm just using a pen because my piercing tool has seemed to disappear somewhere. But you'll get the wish cut out just like that. So pretty. I love this detailed font as well. So you can put those aside, and then you're just going to take another scrap piece of basic black cardstock, and you're just going to cut it out the same way, but this piece does not have adhesive sheet on it. Okay, now I already have don't already have one prepared, so I will go ahead and do this. And you're just gonna do it the same way. I run it in fully until it cuts through the die, and then I just bring it back for an extra cut to make sure it gets through both layers nicely. And you'll see this time it came right out, and just like that. Super nice. So I'll put those 2 aside as I move my Big Shot out of the way, and you will no longer need the Big Shot. So we can go ahead and put these together. So you will have one with the adhesive on the back, which is this one, the one with the white, and then one that is just the cardstock. So you're going to put the one with the adhesive over top of the one without the adhesive. So that just peels off like a sticker. Just like this. You're going to just want to be gentle so you don't rip the cardstock, but like as you can see, it's super sticky, and you're just going to put it right over top of that. So you can line it up as best as possible right over top. Just like that, and then you'll instantly notice how much sturdier that is. So I'm going to do the same with the W. Just peel that off. Okay. It's super sticky, as you can see. Okay, and then you're just going to be very carefully put it over top of the other W without cardstock. Or sorry, without the adhesive sheet. And the reason why we're not using 2 cutouts with the adhesive sheets is because we have to put that wish float. It's going to be partially floating over top of the box, and we don't want that to be sticky, because when you fold the card, we don't want it to stick to the inside. So that's why we're doing it this way. And using the adhesive sheets is just an easy way to get it done, as opposed to trying to put some either double-sided tape or glue on there. It's less messy as well. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with this little dot for the eye. And you might find picking it up a little bit easier than having it on your surface. And there you go. So it's just like that. So after you're done that, just set that aside because we're going to need the inside of the box, which is this nice detailed pattern too. So within the Paper Pumpkin kit also came a stamp set, a mini stamp set, which is this one right here. And we're going to use these stars right here. So I've already gone ahead and put the stars on my G block, and with a piece of 3.5 by 3.5 Whisper White cardstock, that's this one right here, you're going to create your background image with the lovely lipstick ink. This is one of our new ink colors for this year. It is such a pretty color and works perfectly with the card and just matches beautifully with the lemon lime twist. So we can go ahead and open that up. And you may have noticed, if you are a Stampin' Up! Junkie, just like I am, that Stampin' Up! Did redesign the ink pads. Instead of sort of sliding it open and flipping it over, this now is newly designed, so it's much smaller, it's stackable, and it opens just like a makeup compact. So it's super easy. You can just slide that right in there. And of course, you've got the color stickers here on the front and on the inside, which is perfect because if you're working with multiple inks, you know exactly what color you're using because of the sticker on the inside now. So we can go ahead and put that down and create our background. So this one I just did alternating ways. So I did one line, and let me just actually grab a piece of scrap paper here. It's always nice to have a piece of scrap paper, especially when you're going to be stamping off a little bit. So I've just gone ahead and went down, tried to space it as evenly as possible. If you mess up a little bit, that's okay. They won't see the sides. So that's the one. And then I've gone ahead and turned it around because this stamp in particular fits nicely in this little gap here. So you can go ahead and stamp in that little gap just like that. As you can see, it's going to create a nice pattern. And then I've just gone ahead and switched it out each time it goes down, and then you'll end up with something like this. Super pretty even on its own. And of course you're going to end up with a messy block and ink. So I am going to use this new Simply Chamois from Stampin' Up! It's a new product this year. It's one of those other products where you just need in your craft room. As you can see, I have used it quite a bit already, saving the other side, but really you just give it a little bit of water so it is damp, and it cleans off your stamp. So like that, it's all clean. Now my stamp happens to be stained, but everything else is clean. And I don't have messy hands, except for that, because I just touched the actual ink pad. But it just cleans off the stamp so nicely. No more baby wipes, because I find with baby wipes, your hand just ends up covered. So I'll post the link to this as well. And right now, when I'm using it, I just have it on a dinner plate. So you're going to create that background. So after you have that background in, you are going to put it on the inside of this card here. So it's just going to go in just like that. If you want to come and just sort of piece the card together a little bit just to find out where you're going to stick it down, that's fine too, just like that. Okay, but you can go ahead and do that. It's about probably 1/2 inch from the top in this case. So I'll go ahead and use my snail adhesive. And put that down just like that. And that will create your background. So I can still put that aside because we need to add our wish as well as the make a sentiment. Now the sentiment that we're using, let's make a right here, is from the Coordinating Broadway birthday stamp set. As I said, I love all of Stampin' Up's coordinating products. So I have that already on my D block. But what you might notice is that this stamp actually has a line underneath, and we don't want that line for this card. So we're going to actually mask it off with a piece of masking tape. And I'll show you how to do that. But before we actually stamp, we want to line up our wish first, just to make sure that we put everything in their right place. You will have some overlapping with the I and the W, just like that, but that's okay, because once we add in the dot for the I, like there, right there, it will look perfect. So we can go ahead and just move that up a little bit, and I'll show you how to mask this line off, because again, we don't want it, and as you can see, I haven't used the line yet. So I'm just using regular Scotch tape. You just need a little piece like that, and you're going to just put it over top of the line, and I have it just coming up underneath the letters, and you're just going to press that down. You're going to block that off basically, so we don't get any ink on the line. We are going to be using the basic black ink. And I'll put that up here. Right now I want to bring this down just a tiny bit, and I'm going to just put together the wish. I'm not going to adhere it yet, but I just need the placement. And we want it just sitting at the top a little bit, and then we'll make a right at the top there. So maybe we'll move that up just slightly. There, how about that? That looks good. So we'll go ahead and ink that Make-A up. Make sure that it's nice and wet. Okay, I think that's good. So as you can see, the tape now has some ink on it, but that's when the magic happens. You're going to go ahead and remove that tape, and then you have a perfect inked sentiment there. And the line is now dry, so we won't get that on our card surface. And that technique works with any stamp. You can mask off any piece of stamp. So we're going to go ahead and just stamp that over top of where you have your eye, so right in between there. So we'll do that. I think right there is good. Give it a nice firm press. Oh. So that actually didn't stamp too well, but I'll try again. No, as you can see, so it's okay if this happens. This happens, and you probably had it happen to you before, but that's when you can go in with your Stampin' Write marker in basic black. We have Stampin' Up markers in all of our ink colors. Just need to go over that stamped image with your basic black Stampin' Write marker, and you'll still get the effect and nice lettering as well. Now you can, because it is a photopolymer stamp set, you could go back and try to remask this and re-ink it, but sometimes I just find this to be a bit easier. And the thing I love about handmade cards anyways is that things like this is what makes a handmade. People don't need, and they don't really want the perfect card. They just appreciate the time and effort you spend in making them a handmade card. So that's why I love card making so much. So yeah, it still looks good. And we're ready to go ahead and add the wish in. And I will be using the Tombow liquid glue for this, the fine tip. And as you can tell, we don't need to do the full word. We just need to do the top of the W here and the looped W. So we can go ahead and do that. You don't need a ton here, just a little bit of glue will do. Just like that. You can see that. It's all you need. That would be enough for your card. And then of course you can go ahead and just put that back on to make sure that you have your lineup as you would like it. So in this case, I'm going to add Tombow to the I, to the top of the H, and the cursive part of this H. So I'll go ahead and do that. As I said, you don't need a lot. This should be more than enough. And you can go ahead and put that on. Give it a nice push so it can stick and stay. And then you're going to do a little dab on your eye for the dotted eye. Top there. And then you have your Make a Wish. Just like that. And that will go on the inside of your card base. Just like that. Look how nice that is. Oh my gosh, I love these cards so much, as you can tell. If you have any excess glue, go ahead and use your adhesive eraser just to get rid of any extra. And we're going to just set this aside to dry. As you can see, you might have some extra on the back as well. So you can go ahead and take that off with your adhesive eraser as well. So we're going to go put that aside and let that dry. And now it's time to decorate the card front before we put it together. So we're in the home stretch for this because we have some sticker elements that were included in the paper pumpkin kit that we'll be using, including these cutout rectangles here. Super easy. Just go ahead and stick those on the front. Just like that. And they've also included some white flag stickers here as well, but I've gone ahead and used that same star stamp that we used before and went over one of these flags, so we can also add this to the front, and we'll just go ahead and do that right on the top there. It just adds another element, another fun element to the card. Okay. And then we will need one Lovely Lipstick balloon and one Lemon Lime Twist balloon, as well as these fun Hooray stickers. And also they've included these white pieces where I have already added the It's Your Day stamp that is from the kit as well. And we just can go ahead and trim this right down. I use the same ink color, which is Lovely Lipstick. And you know what? I lied. We are actually going to use the Big Shot one more time. And that is to cut out the frame that we need for this part right here, the black frame. That's the Hooray sentiment is over. So the frame is from the Broadway Lights stamps, the framelit dies set as well. And we're going to use a piece of basic black cardstock. This cardstock will not have any adhesive sheets on it. You just need a regular piece of basic black cardstock. And it's really easy. We're just going to run through the Big Shot one time, and it will give us this nice little frame. So we can go ahead and do that. If you don't have a Big Shot or a cutting machine, I highly recommend it. I use it all the time in my cards, and really it's just, it lets you add another element to your cards. So as you can see, it gives you this die just gives you a frame, but it also gives you sort of a Broadway frame from this one as well. Now with this one, we are also going to use some dimensionals to put this card together. So we can go ahead and do that. In this case, I'm just going to use a few mini dimensionals that I have on hand. I would caution you not to be stingy on your dimensionals. You don't want to create a gap or have the card bend in any way or sink down. So I actually like to be a bit generous with my dimensionals, and I will use, 3, 6, 9, 10 dimensionals on there, because I don't want any piece of the cardstock to sink in or anything. So go ahead and remove those backings. Dimensionals are one of those other tools that I like to have in my craft room at all times. They do just what they're supposed to do, and that's add dimension to your cards. In this case, we also create a shadow box. We're also creating a little bit of a pop on the front here. So I have that prepared, but I also want to make sure that I add my stickers here. So I'll just add this one sort of at the top there. Actually, maybe I will do the lemon lime twist first, which will go down a little bit. And then I'll add that one at the top. And these are stickers, so they are super easy to do and use. So I'll go ahead and add that over just like that. Sort of center it as much as possible. Just like that, and as you can see, it has just a little bit of a pop there. And then I'll also go ahead and take the Hooray sentiment, which is the bling. I'll very carefully remove these because I find with stickers that are thin or have cursive writing can be a bit delicate, so I'll just do that gently, and I'll remove the inside of the letters. As you can see, a pen will do in this regard. One thing actually I wanted to mention is that because this is sticky, as you can see, because it's sticking to my fingers, we want to make sure that it doesn't actually stick on the ends like it is, because we have this pop here, so we don't want it to stick. So what I have done actually is gone ahead and used my embossing buddy, which has the white powder inside, and just went over on the edges of parts that I want to make non-sticky, or at least less sticky, and I'll just tap those with that, and it gets rid of the stickiness like you wouldn't believe. So also another tip for you, it does, as you can see, create a little bit of a mess on your stamp, but that can be wiped away after. But just another use for an embossing buddy. So you can go ahead and put that on there, because the rest will be sticky. And you can just wipe the powder off the front, just like that. And if you happen to create a little bit too much of a less stick with that powder, all you need to do is go back in there and add some of your Tombow glue. No issue, just you don't want that stickiness on the edges, because once you mail the card, you don't want it in between there. So I'll just use a bit of a paper towel to wipe that off, excess off. And once that glue dries, I'll go back in with my adhesive eraser. and clean that part up a bit. Okay, and now you're ready to add the sentiment, the It's Your Day sentiment, and I'll just go ahead and use my snail adhesive for that. And you add that just underneath, right there. And then all you need to do is add a little bit of bling with some sequins. So in this case, we're going to use some gold sequins that also came in the kits. And I have a couple right here, so I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow glue. I'm going to add a couple up here. Just like that. You don't need a ton of Tombow glue for these. There you go. And then you're done. You have a cute card front. Now that's all that's left is to put the shadow box card together, which doesn't take any time at all. Now because we want this to stick as best as possible, I will use the tear and tape adhesive from Stampin' Up! So I can go ahead and do that. Super easy to work with, also very, very sticky. So I'll just put one strip there, and it tears very easily, as you can see. And then I'll turn that around, and then you need to add 3 strips of tear and tape on the inside of the lemon lime twist. So you've added one here, then you're going to turn it over and add some on this panel here. Which we'll put it 2 on the outside and 1 in the middle, and that should be enough tear and tape adhesive for this card. So you can go ahead and do the first one first. The top part just peels off, so you can go ahead and do that. Just like that. And you can see the adhesive that's right there. And you're going to line that up with the fold of your other card base, right where it folds. Once you have that lined up, just fold that top part over, give it a good press on the side, and then you'll see that that's attached just like that. And then you're going to turn it over and take off the backs of your tear and tape on the inside, just like that. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. There you go, but it's fairly easy. And you're going to fold it right on the half there. So not that first fold where it turns into a box, but this fold right here. You're going to press it right down. And give that a good press too. And then you have your card, and you open up, and you have just completed your first shadow box card. Or maybe it's not your first, but you know what I mean. Isn't that so pretty? Now I do have a little bit of extra glue from that front there. So I will go ahead and take my adhesive eraser and just get rid of that. It's not completely dry on there yet, but I will go ahead and after and do that. But that's it. You are done and just completed this bright, fun shadow box card. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Thank you so much for sticking with me for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like and be sure to hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss any future videos. Again, thanks for being here, and until next time, bye!